Whenever you're down, out in the cold, faithless and dark, your story's untold. Come take my hand and walk there with me. I know a place where we can be free. There is a light shining for you, guiding your way, helping you through. And shadows and gloom are all that you see. We'll find a place where we can be free. From the mountain top down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you. It's the rising sun shining in the darkest valley. Can't you see you will be free? I have been far, I have been wide, searching for peace, somewhere to hide. Now I am free, open and pure, fearless and babe, I am secure. There is no dark that can't be lit. We'll find a way if we just commit. We are one. There is no them and us. Together we're strong. Together we're free. From the mountain top down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you. It's the rising sun shining in the darkest valley. Can't you see you will be free? Can't you see you will be free? You will be free.
Okay, good morning, you guys. Welcome back to another video, you guys. Before we get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. Again, this is supply sergeant content, but you can still tune in if you're not a supply sergeant. So today, you guys, we're gonna be doing section 2 of chapter 11 in AR 735-5, and we're gonna go ahead and get started, you guys. So section 2, review of financial liability officers' findings and recommendations by a designated appointing authority. Appointing authority review of financial investigations of property losses. When the appointing authority is designated, they will personally review all DD Form 200s arising within their command or authority, except DD Form 200 listed properties for which the appointing authority has either personal responsibility or accountability. See AR 710-4. In this instance, the appointing authority will forward the flipper with all exhibits to the approving authority without action. The appointing authority will make an administrative check to determine if all pertinent instructions have been followed. The appointing authority using and completing section F of DA Form 7531 per the form's embedded instruction will further check to ensure the investigation resolves contradictory statements, confirms or refutes self-serving statements, reflects clearly stated findings from documented evidence, presents sound and logical conclusions and recommendations based on the findings and the policy in this pamphlet, reflects that individuals have received counseling advisement of their rights, and an opportunity to review on their behalf. Reflects correct computation of financial charges. If late, contains statements of delay attachment attached as exhibits. Reflects initials on all changes and minor corrections that support authenticity and clear doubt. Reflects an unbiased investigation. Appointing authority review. The appointing authority will review the action taken by the financial liability officer, making certain all requirements have been met, and then will return the investigation to the financial liability officer for additional investigation. If further investigation is required or personal instructions have not been complied with, the appointing authority will return the investigation to the financial liability officer as an enclosure to a memorandum specifying what additional data and corrections are required. The appointing authority will then either concur with the findings and recommendations. If the appointing authority concurs with the recommendations of the financial liability officer, they will process the flipper as follows. Check approved in DD Form 200 Block 13A, complete DD Form 200 Blocks 13B and 13D through 13H. Forward the flipper with all exhibits to the approving authority. Approving authorities may require the appointing authority to obtain a legal opinion from the legal office before forwarding the flipper. None concur with findings and recommendations. If the appointing authority none concurs with the financial liability officer recommendations, they will process the flipper as follows. Check disapprove in DD Form 200 Block 13A. Enter a statement in DD Form 200 Block 13B showing the rationale upon which their decision is based. Complete DD Form 200 Blocks 13D through 13H. Forward the flipper with exhibits to the approving authority. We on 11-8, you guys, respondents' rights. The approving authority will notify the respondent using a memorandum. Hand deliver the memorandum with a copy of the flipper and all exhibits to the person found financially liable. If the individual is not available locally, forward the memorandum by certified mail. Return receipt requested. The memorandum will inform the individual that collection efforts will begin 60 calendar days for non-Army National Guard from the date delivered or mailed. If a respondent exercising his or her rights described in 11-8 temporary halt collection actions. This memorandum will provide a means for the respondent to acknowledge receipt. The memorandum will state what rights the respondent has and the time limits for exercising these rights. When a memorandum is returned indicating that the memorandum is not deliverable, the approving authority need not make further attempts to notify the individual of their rights. The time is used in notifying respondents of approved charges of financial liability and of their rights, if not counted towards the 75 days allowed for processing the flipper. The memorandum will specify the individual's rights to inspect and copy Army records relating to the debt, obtain free legal advice from the Servicing Legal Assistance Office relating to the assessment of financial liability as authorized by ARS 27-3. Normally, this free legal advice is available only to service members and DoD civilian employees. Request reconsideration of the assessment of financial liability based on legal error. Requests for reconsideration denied by the approval authority are forwarded to the appeal authority by the approval authority per paragraph 11-13. Request a hearing concerning the amount of the debt of the terms of any proposed repayment schedule. So this for civilian employees only. A request for a hearing will not be submitted until a request for reconsideration concerning the existence of the debt has been acted on by the appeal authority. A request for a hearing conducted by the finance office is submitted to the servicing finance office. A respondent who chooses to challenge the existence of the debt will do so by submitting a request for consideration to the approving authority. Request remission or cancellation of the indebtedness under the provisions of AR 600-4. Request extension of the collection period. Submit an application, DD Form 149, application for correction of military record under the provisions of Title 10 U.S. Code Section 1552 to the Army Board for correction of military records. Under the provision of AR 15-185, once final action has been taken by the appeal authority, submission of a request for reconsideration, a hearing, or remission or cancellation of indebtedness stops all collection action pending a decision on the request made by the appropriate official. The time constraints shown in Chapter 5 apply for the submission of requests for reconsideration and hearings. The time constraints in AR 600-4 apply to remission or cancellation of indebtedness. The time constraints in AR 15-185 apply to the correction of military records. When time limits in paragraph 11-18B, 8B expire without action by the respondent, the approving authority will forward the flipper to the finance office for collection under cover of transmittal document requesting acknowledgement of receipt. The approving authority will make initial follow-up to the finance office within 20 days when the finance office has not acknowledged receipt. Therefore, the approving authority will continue to follow every 10th day until the finance office acknowledges receipt of the flipper. DA civilians will see their human resource service representative for DD Form 2481 for payroll deduction submission. They will attach the 2481 upon receipt of the processed DD Form 2481. The approving authority will attach a copy of the notification memorandum and finance receipt or USPFO receipt to the flipper. Submission of individual rebuttal statement. Time constraints. The individual who receives a hand-delivered flipper packet has 7 calendar days from the date of receipt to reply with a rebuttal statement or other additional evidence. This time will not be included when computing the total processing time. Those individuals who are unavailable but in the same country as the financial liability investigation officer have 15 days from the date the notification memorandum is received or the date email was sent to submit their rebuttal statement or other evidence. Okay. Notifications mailed to individuals require the individuals to sign for and date the return receipt form. The email will include a complete packet as an attachment. The investigating officer will ensure that sent, delivered, and read verification is applied. All verification emails will be attached to the flipper as exhibits. This time will not be included when computing the total processing time. Those individuals who are unavailable and in a country different than the financial liability officer have 30 calendar days from the date the notification memorandum is received or the date the email was sent are allowed for individuals to submit their rebuttal statement or other evidence. Notifications mailed to individuals require the individual to sign for and date the return receipt form. The email will include a complete packet as an attachment. This time will not be included when computing the total processing time. Notification to unavailable individuals will be made by certified mail upon receipt requested or email to individuals' official email address with return receipt and delivery confirmation options enabled. Copies of the notification memorandum will be attached to the flipper as an exhibit together with the evidence of mailing and return receipt or email tracking document that the email has been read by the recipient. When the financial liability officer receives a rebuttal statement within the allotted time, he or she will consider the flipper together with any new evidence or allegations of error presented by the respondent. After review, attach the rebuttal statement to the flipper. If the evidence provided changes the financial liability officer findings and recommendation, the new findings and recommendation will be placed in block 15A or an added page. Forward the complete packet to the appointing authority or the approving authority as an appropriate for action. When the financial liability officer receives a rebuttal statement after the time allotted for a rebuttal has expired, he or she will consider any new evidence presented by the respondent. If appropriate, amend their recommendations and forward the amended recommendation by memorandum through the same channels the financial liability investigation was processed. When the financial liability officer did not receive a rebuttal statement within the allotted time, he or she will forward the flipper showing the financial liability officer's findings and recommendations to the appointing authority or the approving authority as appropriate. Rebuttal statement. Individuals have the right to submit a rebuttal statement or other added evidence to have that statement or evidence considered and attached to the flipper for consideration by higher authority. Individuals against whom a charge of financial liability is recommended may obtain legal advice from the servicing legal office. Normally, this free legal advice is available only to service members and DoD civilian employees. Distribution. The financial liability officer will forward the original and copies, number as specified by the local command, to the appointing authority or the approval authority as appropriate for action. The financial liability officer will retain a copy. So, you guys, I just did section 2 in chapter 11 where it talks about the respondent's rights, appointing authority review, appointing authority review of financial investigations and property loss, and also the rebuttal statement, you guys. Submission of rebuttal statement tell you how many days you have to submit a rebuttal statement after you've been notified of financial liability, you guys. So that's all I got for section 2. If you guys got any input about section 2 of chapter 11, go ahead and leave a comment. Next week, you guys, we're gonna start on section 3, the review by approving authority. So that's all I got today for you guys. Make sure you guys stay tuned for next week.
Whenever you're down